And then we're going in chronological order, so I have a lot of things I apparently played in, like, June this year. Which, the next one of those is Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight, all these side-scrolling side-scrolling indie-style games. This one was lifted straight from the Nintendo NES era, the game that never released until now.
Yes, it's basically Mega Man with the mechanic taken from DuckTales with your pogo stick thing.
Mm-hmm. That sounds like a winning combination.
Only it's double. It's a very fun game. It's a very solid game.
Mm-hmm.
This is not like a criticism of it in any way. Like it's really well designed. It's really solid. It's nice and long. It's one of those games that I wasn't really impressed by it. It was kind of like it's sort of exactly what the description to it implies, but it's not more than that. And I'm excited for them to now release the. There's alternate characters you're going to be able to play through the game with, and I think that's really going to like make it more interesting, and it's going to make me interested in going back and playing it. Because New Game Plus in the original was just play the game again, only there are more enemies and only like 2 checkpoints per level, which was really just annoying and not hard.
Yeah, gotcha.
And overall, like I'd probably recommend it because it's a cheap game. It's probably a quick playthrough, and everything in there is really satisfying. It's just I was looking to maybe get a little something more out of it that I didn't get out of it. It's kind of hard to define what I'm looking for, but
Gotcha. Divinity Original Sin.
oh, go ahead. Okay, yeah, go ahead and do that then.
Did you play it?
No, I didn't.
Oh, man. That is unfortunate. Okay, so Divinity. This is the most real RPG that came out this year, aside from maybe Wasteland 2, which I also played. If you're a fan of XCOM, you like that tactical style combat, this game does it. It treats the level design as much of a factor as it does enemies when in combat, so everything kind of operates almost like a puzzle. You have to use the environment. You can throw things at enemies. You can sneak around. You can use different environmental hazards to your advantage. So when you're in combat, the preparation for your party itself is only half the battle. It's how you utilize it in the context of the environment that makes all the difference. And it's also one of those super wide open RPGs where you can kill anyone in the game. You can get anyone to aggro on you. You can end entire quest lines because you kill someone. There's a lot of different ways to solve problems and quests, and it doesn't hold your hand. Very satisfying, very good game, and it has like co-op. Like in a game like this, it's basically like Baldur's Gate has co-op, which is really interesting. And you basically each person plays as a character, and normally you control both characters in the main game. But you can also roleplay with each other. Each character gets to make decisions in certain events, and it's very, very cool.
Oh, that sounds neat. That's a neat concept.
So you basically each get to be your own shepherd or your own warden or champion,
that's
whatever.
cool.
So, awesome game. And when you get companions, if you're playing in co-op, you can have 2 companions, and one player will control one of them while the other controls the other. Super cool game. Like if you want to play something like an in-depth RPG with like puzzle-style, interesting combat in co-op, I mean, you can lose dozens of hours with a friend on this game. It does not hold your hand, and it is awesome.
Well, that sounds like a pretty big recommendation then.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely.
Next up, we've got Wasteland 2. I did not play this. Well, I haven't played it yet, at least.
Wasteland 2. Kind of to go along with Divinity, it's one of those older school style RPGs. This one is more wide open. I hesitate to say it's open world, but it has the big world map feature going on. For people that aren't familiar, Wasteland 2 is the sequel to Wasteland, which is the precursor to Fallout, and that came out like 25 or 30 years ago. I mean, this is like the longest gap between predecessor and successor probably ever in video games. And
I'm still waiting on Adventure 2.
Maybe someday, man. This game is great, and it has combat that is more reminiscent of XCOM than Divinity, but it's pretty easy. Even on the harder difficulties, you don't have to employ as many tactical choices as you do in Divinity. But the role-playing aspect of having all your party members and you progress, and it has more of, I guess, a scouring and adventuring feel. And the writing is kind of hit or miss. It doesn't feel like it. If you, I guess it's kind of like Fallout 3. If you look at any of the individual elements of Fallout 3, then it's like none of them are that great, but they all come together to make something that's really engrossing. And Divinity, I'm sorry, Wasteland 2, I apologize, is that to an even greater extent. I'm sure I pissed off some people by even comparing it to Fallout 3, because this is supposed to be like harken back to the days before that was a thing.
This is the true sequel.
Right, yeah. When you look at any single aspect of Wasteland 2, like the presentation's not very good, the story's not exceptional, but some of the quests are really cool. The graphics aren't good. The combat is not that interesting or engrossing, but you'll play it for 70 hours. I mean, it is ultimately
that is like the most negative positivity I think I've ever heard to describe a game before.
Right. I mean, yeah. And when I say that, it is probably a hard sell at $40. But I think that if people want like an older style RPG, or they want something that's reasonably in depth that they'll play for a while, I think it's a good recommendation. I probably recommend Divinity first, but if you play Divinity or you don't like the medieval style setting, then Wasteland 2 gets another solid second recommendation for me. So.
Well, alright. We got a lot of RPGs. And continuing with RPGs, a game that I have staunchly refused to touch, and you have played, is Destiny.
Destiny? You refuse to touch it? Really?
I have a contingent of friends that have tried to get me to play this. I have played this for like an hour and was completely uninterested in it. I don't like kind of the MMO style progression at all. I was not into it.
Okay, I think that if it's a game you plan to play for more than 15 hours or 20 hours, the method to which it keeps you enthralled, I guess, and I use that in quotations, is probably the worst way to do it. I mean, it is like grind city, play this raid 20 times.
It is some serious carrot on a stick.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there is not enough variety of content in that game. I mean, I played through the story mode, I played all the strikes, played most of it in co-op with a friend, had a pretty good time with it. 7 out of 10. Got my $60 worth. So if you like Borderlands and you want to play Borderlands again, but with better graphics and an infinitely more boring world with absolutely no personality and a story that barely exists, then this is fine. I mean, I was a little bit grated by when I played Borderlands 2 a few years ago. I was getting sick of the style and the humor in it, mainly because the game was like twice as long as it needed to be. Then with Destiny, it's like the exact opposite, where it just doesn't even try to have a personality.
So speaking of Borderlands, we could just go ahead and transition to that. We're skipping around a little bit.
Yeah.
You played Borderlands.
I did.
The one that came out this year. Wasn't this originally an expansion, and then it turned into a full game?
I think it was announced as a full game.
Okay.
But, yeah, it's, this game, I was very surprised by. So Borderlands 2, I think I can say, is better than Borderlands 1. Better story, better gameplay, improved, whatever. Way longer, more content. There's no reason why Borderlands 2 shouldn't be considered better than the first one, but I did not have nearly as much fun with it. I think mainly because I was sick of Borderlands, kind of. Borderlands 1 ended when I was getting sick of it. I didn't even care that the ending sucked, because I was like, okay, well, that was fun, and I'm done with it. Borderlands 2 is like 3 times as long, and boy, I was dragging my feet playing that game. Pre-sequel, I would say, is the best Borderlands game.
Really?
Yes. It is not as insufferably long as the second one. The game still has the same brand of humor as Borderlands 2, but I would say it's maybe funnier. I mean, it definitely has some sour notes to it, but at the very least, conceptually, the story is more interesting, and it has the best set of character classes that are the most fun to play out of the entire series. So, I was more attached to my character in pre-sequel playing as Wilhelm than I was as anyone in Borderlands 2. You level up faster as well. I mean, it just feels like it's a more briskly paced game, which is something I think the series desperately needed. So,
Borderlands as a series for me is kind of the same thing with Destiny. I have tried to play Borderlands 2 like 8 times, and I play the first 2 to 3 hours every single time with a new character, and then just kind of trail off.
Right. Yeah.
And I can't keep interested. And it's like I see I have a thing in RPGs. I really like maxing out characters. I really like playing as different classes. And when I see in a game like Borderlands, to get my standard RPG level of enjoyment out of this, I'm gonna have to put several hundred hours into this. I don't want to.
Yeah, I never played through any Borderlands game more than once, but I am kind of interested in maybe tackling this again as one of the DLC characters or doing New Game Plus. And I love New Game Plus, so it's really strange that I ignore it with Borderlands because it seems like a really awesome New Game Plus-ish game. But, yeah, so pre-sequel, I think that it is not as good of a value as Borderlands 2, so the $60 price tag is asking a bit, especially because it's not on new gen, which is baffling. But, yeah, I think it is a very good game. I would recommend it heads and shoulders above Destiny, so...
Alright, you did Persona 4 Arena. Why don't you launch into that one?
Persona 4 Arena, man, I'm on a roll. Like, I've played everything now. Persona 4 Arena, the best fighting game released since Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This is Ultimax, actually, which is a weird re-release / sequel.
Yeah, it's a pseudo re-release sequel thing. You know, it's super turbo.
Yeah, ArcSys, they take their re-releases and make them sequels, kind of. I don't know where this...
Yeah, they do, but they do. Like, I like that more than just doing here's a new thing, and it's not really a sequel.
Man, I loved BlazBlue when it came out, and boy, did they fucking run that shit into the ground. I got sick of that real fast. But you know, Persona 4 Arena, very much in the new ArcSys style of fighting games, gorgeous graphics. I think, you know, marrying BlazBlue, a fighting game I loved, with Persona, a series I love, was like, you know, a match made. You know, that's like peanut butter and chocolate. I cannot imagine something like that actually coming together and it being, you know, real, but it did. It happened, and it's great.
Yeah, I wanted ArcSys to make the JoJo game. That would be like a good fit.
Yeah, man, that would be an amazing fit. But you know, they made this Persona fighting game, and it doesn't make the splash that Persona 4 Arena did. I played that a ton, and that game is outstanding. But this game is great. You know, super well balanced. The new characters are cool. I was really pissed off that I missed out on the free DLC characters in a week of release. Boy, I'm not getting over that anytime soon. But, yeah, great game. There's not a whole lot to say. I think that in terms of story, I think Persona fans will want to play it. It's got accessible enough mechanics that you can just play through the story modes and still get your money's worth and have fun if you just want to play the story mode aspect. And it's neat because it's a different story mode than Persona 4 Arena, so you can...
Yeah, that's what I like in how ArcSys does a lot of their stuff, is that even if it's a new version of the same game, it's like a new storyline and like some new kind of developments like that. I like that there are straight up mega spoilers for Persona just in like the character select screen now.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's kind of like one of those, at this point, if you haven't been spoiled on it, it's getting too late, like, go play the Persona games.
Yeah, exactly. And if you have played them and you dig them, then this makes a lot of sense. It is, I mean, it's called Persona 4 Arena, but it is a sequel, like the Persona 4 Arena series, I guess. It is a sequel to Persona 3 and 4. It, like, combines the two in really awesome ways. Yeah, you know, it didn't make as big of a splash, so I don't talk about it, and I'm not as enthusiastic about it as much as other games that came out this year. But I would say, like, it's still a great game. Persona 4 Arena, when that came out in 2012, was probably my favorite game of that year. So,
okay, now on to a slew of stuff that both you and I have played. Starting with Alien Isolation.
Third best game of the year.
So, this game is... I am amazed this got made. This is one of the most pure survival horror games I have played in years.
Yes.
Like, just straight up... The first couple of hours of this game are just straight up, you cannot fight anything. At all. And through most of the game, fighting is your worst possible option. You can't, like, kill barely anything. You know, you can kill humans, and, like... If you really want to waste a bunch of resources, you can, like, dismantle the working Joes. The alien is invincible. Mm-hmm. And the level of creepiness and scariness and tenseness that this game maintains throughout, like, its runtime it's just amazing.
Yeah.
And now, I admittedly, I have not beaten this at this point. I think I'm about halfway through. But I'm playing through it right now, and I have legitimately had to just stop playing this at points because I was getting, like, too freaked out at
It is super intimidating, ridiculously intense, tons of fun. I mean, I agree, it feels like a game that I can't believe was made. It makes no concessions for the player. You have to go and find save points and log into them to activate checkpoints.
I can't remember the last time that was, like, a thing in a major release like this.
Yep. And it has I say this, I think, without exaggeration, I think it has the best sound design of any game I've ever played.
I would agree. I would agree with that. I think there are other things you could rank up there with it, but I wouldn't disagree with that. The way, like, oh god, it's in the vents, like, just makes you shit your pants.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, it's one of those, yeah, like I said, I don't know how this game got made. This feels like such a perfect apology for how Colonial Marines turned out.
Yeah, man, and it is, oh god, this game, I appreciate, it's not just a game I love, I appreciate this game so much. It looks amazing, it sounds amazing, it is so fun, and it mechanically, I think, gets things down about as perfectly as you could get. I've seen some people say that it gets redundant and it's too long. I could probably sympathize with those complaints, but I don't agree with them. I love the game from start to finish, pretty much. So,
yeah, this is fantastic. I think this is one of my most recommended games that I have played this year, in part because it's divisive. This is a game that you are either not really going to be into, or you're going to be into it, and if you're into it, you're going to be really, really into it.
I agree, yeah. It was amazing.
And now, too, I don't know if you caught this either, they just released 2 new difficulties the other day.
Yeah,
this.
Are you playing on hard mode?
Yes, I'm playing
Okay,
on hard.
yeah, I played it on hard mode, and it was awesome, so I might go ahead and check out Nightmare mode. So,
have you checked out, like, what the restrictions in Nightmare mode are?
I know that it's, like, less resources, a smarter alien, and also your tracking
Your motion
device.
tracker doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work properly.
Like, it gives you false positives.
Yeah.
Which is the scariest thing you could do with that.
That is maybe, like, if I had to pinpoint, like, one specific thing about this game that I'm just like, that's, like, where the game becomes brilliant, is probably the motion tracker. I feel like that's what the game revolves around.
It's such a perfect system
It is. It's
for,
a
like,
perfect
doing
system.
radar in a game like that.
The way the background blurs with the depth of field effect and you use it, and you can alternate between having the motion tracker blurred or the background, like, wow. That sounds like such a simple thing, but the game is full of simple things that just...
Yeah, it's...
Oh, man.
So many good small ideas make up that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is probably easily one of my, like, probably top 3. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like you said, and it's fantastic. People need to play this, and we need to get more games.
Yeah, it is. I bought it. I actually, you know what? This game has the first season pass I ever bought, and will probably ever buy. I didn't even buy the season pass for Dark Souls 2. I bought all the DLC individually because I was like, fuck you, thank you for making this great content, but I'm not supporting the season pass process. I bought the season pass for this. I don't even really care about the challenge maps. I don't know if I'll play any of them, but I was like, you know what, Creative Assembly, thank you. Here's another $30. So